found this over at newswars.com, and on the headlines today is surge of psychotic violence shows the zombie apocalypse is already here. The zombie apocalypse. Now, it says, and so going into the report, it's talking about why civilization is collapsing and what we can do to stop it. And so here's the report.
Chorelessness.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. The controlled demolition of Western civilization through globalist subversion is already taking place, evidenced by a recent surge of senseless, even psychotic acts of violence in America over the last several days. And in this report, Alex Jones is actually going in, does a really good in-depth analysis on this, by the way, and how these are becoming more frequently. They're frequently occurring zombie attacks and are part of the globalist engineered clash of societies. So here's a few examples that happened only this last week. So we have this female stranger randomly stabs a 3-year-old boy in the face in Georgia, and she's filmed, this was on Thursday, stabbing a young boy in the face in Tbilisi, Georgia, before turning the knife on the boy's family. And what happened here is this lady walks up. She is an artist in her own terms and very leftist leaning. And she comes up with a butcher knife. And there's this family that's walking, a man and his daughter and the wife and the son. And she comes up to this 3-year-old boy and stabs him in the face twice and nearly cutting off his nose. And then tries to stab the wife and the husband, tries to kill the husband and the daughter. I mean, just goes after him. And then she just walks off. The lady, and it shows in the film that this lady police officer goes up to her, takes the knife away from her, puts her in handcuffs, walks away where she's completely calm. And so just crazy.
What's crazier, she only faces 10 years.
She now faces 10 years in prison only. Yeah. And then we get this naked triple murder suspect chased by the police and attacks a stranger in Virginia. This is where last week an 18-year-old Matthew Thomas Bernard emerged from the woods wearing no clothing after allegedly murdering his sister, mother, and baby nephew, running towards officers while at the same time attacking a groundskeeper at a Baptist church. Bernard faces 3 charges of first-degree murder and is under suicide watch. And so in this story, this guy comes out and he literally just he comes to this groundskeeper at the Baptist church and begins to try to kill him and do a sexual act against him. And then he charges the police officers who run from him. And the guy is armed only with his nakedness. And so the police eventually get him restrained and capture him, but it took him a little bit of time. The guy was completely bizarre in his behavior. And then we get this female drug addict bites and tries to hijack a car. He bites the Uber driver in Atlanta. So what's going on in Georgia? So this zombie woman attacks this Uber driver while he was dropping off a customer, jumping on and ransacking his car before she bit him while he tried to stop her from hijacking his vehicle. And by the way, this is all while bystanders are watching and filming these nightmarish encounters instead of helping. They got to put it on Facebook, go viral, whatever. And this lady, she's like jumping on the guy's car and goes and ransacks the car. And the driver tries to pull her out and stuff, and she just starts to attack him. Crazy behavior. Of course, in the past, we've seen the things with the psychotic killers, where the guy even up there in
Kingsman.
It's the Kingsman, where they turn on the cell phones and they're affected. Who knows? But where we had that event up there in Dayton, Ohio, where this guy is literally goes up there, starts shooting, kills his own sister, and among other people. These are some crazy things are happening. It's not just in America. We have over in Europe where we have these people randomly coming up and stabbing people. Of course, who are these? These psychotic killers in Europe are Muslims that are using these knife events, to where the point that Great Britain has had to outlaw knives. And if you want to use a butcher knife, they're talking about getting a license for it.
So you have to get a license in your home to cut meat?
Yeah. 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 I mean, seriously,
Wow.
seriously. And now, and of course, Joe says these are not zombies. No, they're not zombies, but this is something that going several years back that they began preparing the army to prepare for the zombie apocalypse. And so where they would have these people just simply going crazy. Of course, these are not mindless walking dead. These are actually living people that seem to be out of their mind, doing these crazy acts, committing acts of violence against people, literally stabbing them and killing them. And the U.S. Army has actually been prepared for where there would be possibly this end time apocalyptic scenario where everybody is being affected and becomes crazily turning on one another.
Because of technology. And
so this is what I wanted to bring up today and put it on the board, because what's going on? We see an uptick in the craziness. And of course, in the article, it says, at the beginning of the article, it's talking about the collapse of civilization. One of the things that have happened at various times in the collapse of civilization have been similar events. Some people are blaming it on the approaching of Planet X because end time scenarios, weird things going on geographically around the world with volcanoes, with a change in the magnetic pulse around the Earth, the electromagnetic shield, the increase of intensity of electromagnetic impulses besides the sun from other sources outside. Weird things happening. We got psychotic drugs. What are y'all thinking about this?
I think that you always tell me that they show everything in movies and media and all the stuff they're about to do before they do it. And if for us to think that it's just, well, first it's demonic, absolutely. It's also lawlessness, absolutely. But there's also a play in there that a lot of that's done on purpose too, by the powers that be, according to things you've told me. Because there's agendas out there and there's mind control out there. And in the movies, what have we seen? We've seen that where they've been showing us for a while how they control the masses through vibrations and sound and all sorts of things, as well as frequencies, as well as individuals alone. So mistake? Probably not.
Right. Okay. Well, Daryl, I want to get your insight into this, because I know you watch the news, you watch the things that are going on, and just sheer craziness, violence against people. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, Daryl had to leave at the bottom of the hour.
Oh.
Yeah, he had to leave at the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
So, and I said, so Daryl, after hearing John say all these things, have yourself one wonderful day. And so he had anyway.
Let's not take ourselves too seriously around here.
I'm glad Sandy brought up movies, because there are three types of movies. Everything's backwards. 3 types of movies that I will not watch, and of course, the number one is porn. Second of all is any movie that has a zombie in it or has vampires in it. Okay? Because these creatures are already dead and they're walking around the earth already dead, meaning that it is a direct opposition to God and to life. And so I won't have anything to do with that at all. I just won't. So second of all, they're not zombies. These people you're talking about, it's just, why is it this way? Anything goes. We've just systematically layer upon layer upon layer as time goes on, allow more and more and more things to happen and to go by the wayside, whether or not it's against the Constitution, whether or not against its physical laws or spiritual laws or whatever. We just allow these things to keep going. And especially when us people of God, sorry for the grammar, we don't stand up against it. I mean, we just allow these things to just happen and keep happening and keep happening. We don't even come against it in our churches and our synagogues. We just go and meet and don't even discuss these things, anything like this. This is one of the main reasons why I started this network, was to be able, if you guys remember the original Lamb Radio, we started, one of the main shows was the Wall Watchman, where every week we brought up issues that are happening like this around the world. And Kimberly Rogers was one of the very first people with Beast Watch News, and she brought up things like this. And there's just, within the religious sect of broadcasting, they don't discuss these things. They don't bring up these things so that we can hear them and stand up against them however we can. You know, like your I think it's HR 838 or something like that you brought up last week. Is I had to go back and listen to that again so that I could get an idea of what you're talking about. It's the same thing with this story here. Is that we need to realize we don't need to just hear like what happened this past weekend with the shootings in Texas. We don't need to just hear it and go, oh man, not another one, and then go on to the next thing. Every single one of these things, like what each individual thing you just layered out there that's happened, is vital. It's of value to somebody, to the families of these people. You know, we need to be serious about this, you know, and recognize it and spread the word and talk to people about this, bring them up. I think the only reason why Satan has the ability to just keep devouring the earth is because we give him authority. We give him authority in our lives. We give him authority in our city. We give him authority in our country and authority all over the earth. We're not fighting against him. I don't say us individually, us three and the people that are on Lamb Network, and many people we know are major warriors against this crap. But in all, when you take the body of Messiah, all in all, they're not fighting against us. So how does he get free reign? We're not fighting against it. They're not fighting against it. That's why. And so yeah, this is happening, and yeah, it's going to increase. I'm sorry, I don't want to make a bad confession, but because people are not fighting against it and only find it, oh, that's too bad, you know, then that's why. You have a black raccoon next to you over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's chasing a fly.
Yeah.
Oh, not another bat, right?
Not a bat.
Right.
No. Okay. So, you know, I when I put all these different pieces together and you think about, okay, we have, I don't remember what the percentage of, it's a very big percentage of people that are on antidepressant drugs. And on the label themselves, it actually says it can cause psychotic breaks. It can cause, different, mass hysteria, all sorts of different, I mean, just, I misquoted that, but it can cause these psychotic breaks, and it causes people to actually, it causes people to actually think that they're in a role-playing type of game where they are not in touch with reality, that they are living in a dream type state where it's not real to them. So it's not that they're doing anything in their own state of mind. It's just what's happening around them is just a dream. And then they come out of it and they say, what's going on? What happened? And it also says in these drugs, in the insert, is that you can't get off of these drugs, I mean, you have to get off of them very, very slowly, because then you'll become suicidal. In fact, these drugs actually cause you to be suicidal, and the antidepressant drugs are to help you with suicidal tendencies. So it kind of exacerbates the issue.
So you take one drug to do this, but it's going to cause these. So the same drug company now has an anti whatever this is. So if you get addicted to them, buy our other drug to get off that addiction. Or if it's causing you these symptoms, you can buy our other drug. Pretty soon you're doing 28 different pills, one
Yes.
to do this, and then the other ones to counteract those.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. And then what's it do is, this is that Greek word pharmakia, which we see over in the book of Revelation, that says they would not repent of their pharmakia. It's a form of witchcraft by which that mind-altering transformation of these medications, the people get addicted to it. They can't get off of it. They sell it. They keep pushing these drugs. And yet these are the things that are opening up doorways into people's lives. For honestly, when you look at this is insane. It's demonic, and it's created a demonic attachment for people to get this crazy behavior. They need deliverance. They need to be delivered from the medication because of the spiritual connection, I believe, as well as really the bringing in, whether voluntarily or involuntary, demonic entities that empowers them to do craziness. There's these psychotic activities. Then Sandi brought up the frequencies, and Joe said here that we have to watch out for the 5G, the 5th generation of cell phones, where they're wanting to put an antenna on every other house in neighborhoods, where I think Sandi brought up the Kingsman movie, where they used cell phone frequencies to change and to affect people's behavior and modify behavior, which in that case, it increased people's violence to turn on one another to kill each other. Well, do we have connections here? Literally, how do we become so influenced to where these what would you call it? I mean, I would just say this is such a demonic activity. No one in their right mind, in the right spirit, would actually do this to another person. So anyway, some things to be thinking about, some things that I thought was very, very much concerning as we see an uptick in this in our society. And so, if you can move out to the country, get away from all the wires, eat clean, and all of that, I think we can be safe. We can protect our families. But wow. So that's all I've got to say about that today.